Hi, good morning and good afternoon. I'm going to put together a little training video and it will be short and sweet, and hope everything's going good. Hope you had safe travels back, and I'll give you a little look at my office before we get going. Thank you. Wanted to give you a quick look at where I hang out about 1 or so weeks a month. And this is my desk, computer, extra screen. We got our projector here. Couple certificates. I'm pretty into music, so I have all that stuff on the wall. Not too good at guitar playing. Down below I have all the displays we're going to talk about. Total CV display with power locks and insert fittings. And then we also have a PVC display with the total CV, couple controllers, and that's about it. We'll get to it. Hi, my name is Mark Hall with Jain Landscape. I'm a TSSM, Territory Sales and Specification Manager. I cover Southern California, Arizona, and Nevada. I am a licensed landscape architect and a licensed contractor. This is our total CV kill sheet or comparison guide. There's three main things you want to pay attention to. One would be our check valve is the best in the industry at 8.5 feet. That's vertical feet. And Netafim is one of our biggest competitors, and they're at 4.5 feet. The other item you want to take note is we're the only ones that have power lock fittings. Most manufacturers have insert fittings, 17 millimeter, which are much more difficult to put in. With our fittings, we actually fit 16, 17, and 18 millimeter tubing. The third item would be flow rates. We can identify our different flow rates with the color of the emitters, and we have 4 different colors. And then if you look at one of our main competitors, Netafim again, or Rainbird, they only use one color, which is black, so you cannot easily identify the flow rates. These are some of the things we go through to figure out row spacing, and also emitter flow rate, and then the spacing of the emitters within the emitter line. Relative movement of water through soil. This is very basic, but this covers everything. If you look at clay, we have emitter spacing further apart than we do with sand. And then we also do lower flow rates because the water moves more laterally. And if you look at sand, we do higher flow rates and closer emitter spacing. This is the way we determine what's dripper flow rate, what dripper spacing, and what the row spacing is. Take, for instance, on the right hand side of the chart, you have shrub beds. And if you look at loam, we recommend a 0.58 gallon per hour emitter, 18-inch dripper spacing, and 18 to 24-inch row spacing. We like to stay on the lower side of that just to be safe, so 18-inch would probably be the best. We also show application rate. Again, it's not precipitation because it's at the ground level. And the time to apply 1/4 inch of water, which is very helpful when you're programming a controller, especially an ET controller. If you look below, we show the maximum run length, which is very important while you're designing the system or laying it out. If you look at the 12-inch spacing, which is in the middle column in blue, you look at, let's say we had 35 psi. We can actually run 486 lineal feet to the right of a supply header or left, and then if we want to do a center feed, we can run 486 feet each direction. Sometimes it's sort of fun to break up the presentation. Everybody's going to have a different style. A lot of times irrigation is not that exciting to a lot of people. We need to appeal to everybody from a homeowner to a developer. So competition holds back 4.5 feet of water. In this case it would be Netafim. And our total CV product holds back 8.5 feet of water. How do you design? After you have this information, how do you put this together? There's 2 planners, and we're going to do these all on one zone or one valve. And you can see the dimensions on there. This is very handy if you have this slide, which you do on your flash drives. So that's how simple the system is. This is the easiest way to run the tubing and keep the least amount of fittings, because if you ran vertically, you're going to have a lot more fittings. We also show basically on the left-hand side a supply header of each planter, and the right-hand side is the exhaust header where we can manually flush our system. We also do not require any air relief valve, and we do not require an automatic flush valve. These are going to be some photos, show you some different projects. You want to customize this to your area, but I think this will give you a good overview of some slope and flat applications of our system. This slope is anywhere from about a 1-to-1 to a 2-to-1. You run the emitter line pretty much to the contours of the grade. And sometimes it's the best idea if you can do, bigger slopes. You might do 3 separate zones. One in the top, one at the middle, and one at the toe or bottom of the slope. This way you can really control the amount of water for each one of those sections. If you look at this, this shows sort of the finished product. Here's some other layouts. You see the spread of water. Again, this is actually a low flow. This is 0.4 gallon per hour with 18-inch dripper spacing and 18-inch row spacing. You do tight areas, it's about 4 inches. And you can see it's pretty easy to do, but there are a lot of fittings. It's going to cost a lot more to do, but that's good for all of us. Shows the layout. When you got your supply header, this is before they actually trenched in the tubing. There's another layout. You can do any shape, any size, and you can see a little bit of the spread of water on that photo. This is a podium planter, which is on top of a garage structure. And because these typically have lightweight soils, we need to do closer spacing of our emitter line, like 12 inches here and 12 inch on our emitter spacing. This is a residential project in Tucson. I will send you a link for this video. It's one of our first total CV projects. It's actually a turf application. We only recommend that you do small areas like, let's say, 1 foot to maybe a 6 foot in width, but there are some contractors that specialize in doing subsurface turf, and this is one of them, and I'll be sending you that. Again, it's a viral video. As time goes on, we will refine these videos and make them available to you. This shows a tree ring design. On the right hand side you see the plan view, 3 rings, fairly simple, and then you see the actual tree and the wetting pattern on that particular tree. Palm trees, root watering systems were in here before. They overwatered the tree. They caused some root rot, and they found that it was the best. The arborists found that it was a much better application of water using the inline drip. Some other applications. This is a center feed. There's a lot of ways to do the center feed. This is just one PVC lateral pipe. Different sizes. Obviously, the bigger the size, the more the flow you need. And then if you look at the, there's a riser, and then there's a T with the insert fitting for 17 millimeter. Here's another shot. There's the final product of the irrigation. And there's the finished product of the landscape. This particular job has about 25 miles of inline emitter line. This is a Wynn Resort, another area. In Vegas, they do a lot of inline irrigation, but they actually do some point source. This is the interior at the Wynn Hotel. They do point source and inline, and the outside they typically do inline irrigation. Commercial project in Tucson. Decided instead of running a emitter to each one of those plants, that it would be much more efficient just to run a few lines of emitter line, and this project's doing very well. This is just after a couple weeks. Shows sort of a layout, plan view, hand-drawn, not even AutoCAD, but it gives you an idea of sort of how to do some zoning. There's turf on the left, turf on the right. Anyway, this is final product. You guys asked for a lot of different tools, which we definitely need, but we wanted to give you an idea, Rob and I and Liz, want to give you an idea of some of the tools that we have available, and then some of the tools that we're working on. We obviously have the kill sheet. The displays you're either going to be making, or you can utilize the photos that I provided for you guys. Counter mat, we're working on that. Data collection, there's a sheet in there, I'll show you what that looks like. Project tracking, we get their customers, as far as, you know, collecting a database on all these customers. I'm sure you guys are doing that, but I will help us in email blast, which is down below. Jain preferred customers or contractors or designers. We haven't really started on that, but once we get a bunch of those type of customers, that'd be a great way to go. Details, we've already submitted our first couple details, and the designer, hopefully we'll have those finished the first go around, and then we've got about 40 more to do. Maybe within the next couple months we'll have that completed. LandFX and other software are a great way to get our information in front of the designers, so it makes them easier to design with our materials. Social media, as Bethany told you, we're on Facebook, we're also on Twitter. We will eventually develop a YouTube channel. Advertising, I know Rob has started looking at different types of advertising. Liz may have too, and we'll eventually be getting ourselves, you know, as the money comes in, we can get those things done. Website, we are definitely working on that. I think that's fairly well into the process, so we should have that soon. YouTube videos I already mentioned. Our drop. This is a great new way to sort of get the word out, who we are, what our logo means. So it says Jain, we got the 4 different colors in it. You can obviously see soil, water, plant, and sun. QR codes. Not a lot of people know what QR codes, a lot of the younger people, I think all of them know what a QR code is, but it's a great way to give information out. You can have this on your business card, it has all your contact information, goes right into somebody's iPhone. Then they don't have to even get your card. They just take a quick little photo of that. It's easy. If you guys need any more help on that, just let us know. But you can go to QR codes and type it into Google, and you'll get a free app for your phone. Very easy to use. If it's a little dark, there's actually a light option on it where you can turn on, looks like a little sun symbol. You can turn that on and get a good picture of that. These are real helpful. It's on the back of our catalog. It links our customers straight to our website. Total CV end fee detail is one of our first details. We definitely think it's fairly unique. No other manufacturers that we know of actually put this level of detail in here, also including optional items, for instance, fertigation and moisture sensing. So this is a follow-up format. If you go to a show or you go to an event and you want to follow up with a certain customer, fill out some of the basic information or have them fill it out, and then you'll see, you can sign them up for a live demo, a webinar. Very easy to circle or check off. You could also do this on an Excel format. So email blast, or for new customers, and again it's sort of the same type of thing, just a different format. Just to give you some ideas, you probably have your own way of collecting info and setting up events. Sign-in sheet, always good to have, especially if you're doing a lunch and learn or you're doing something with public agencies. It's good to have record of this. Companies are always changing. Site-specific, or we don't really have a name for this yet, but for now we're calling it the Jain report. It'd be like a site report where in your different areas we'd like to get across the United States projects that are documented, well documented. It gives credit to the designer, the contractor, the distributor. It also would give a little before and after photos. It's something that you can use to promote your business and our business, and it's also great for your customer. You can print those up or send them a PDF off our website. Flex tree tie display is sort of a fun display. It looks a little bit odd, but that's in the middle of that is obviously a tree trunk, small one, and then there's 2 lodge poles cut down. There's 8-inch bolts drilled through each one of those items, and it's countersunk below that 2x6 board, so that will sit flat. Great way to demonstrate our flex tree tie. We also included, if you look on your flash drive that I gave you, go ahead and you'll see the PDF for for this, and it has step-by-step instructions how to put our flex tree tie onto a tree. There are a lot of other ways to use our product, and the more that we can show our customers how it can be used, the more we should sell. So this is a green living wall with mini pep line. There's actually a great video on this, shows from start to finish, including the wall instructions and how to irrigate. Galcon controllers. I know a lot of you are used to hearing from customers or being in the business long enough that you know many of the customers use Rainbird, they use Hunter, they use Toro, Irritrol. There's so many different controllers out there, and a lot of them are very competitive. We do have some great controllers. We've got a couple different hose end timers that people really like. We got to work on our costing a little bit, and Rob will be working on that. There's a couple different residential controllers on the bottom right hand side, and then on the left hand side we have an internet based one, and then we also have a modular controller. Those are a great addition to our line. The more we can sell a all Jain type of project, the better off we'll all be. One of the displays, this is one that we didn't go over. This is a PVC display, total CV center feed display. So a lot of parts to it, but if you look at the measurements, you should be able to get all the information. The brown fittings on the right are actually black and painted brown. You would just probably install those as a black fitting right now. This is the final product. See, it's again a systems approach. You can actually turn this on. There's a hose end connection on the far right hand side. Then it goes valve, filter, regulator, of course, center feed. From center feed it goes to each side, and then you got flush valves on each side. This is nice too with the unions. You can break this down to a fairly small footprint of about 6 to 9 inches wide by, I'm saying, maybe 4.5 to 5 feet long. I will be going over the PVC Total CV end feed display. This again has a valve, filter, regulator. Then you go to the PVC supply header on the right, and on the left you go to an exhaust header with a flush valve on the far left and our valve box. So this also gives you a definitive way, or a way that you can show your customers. On the right hand side of this display you've got insert fittings, and then on the left hand side you can show what it would look like if you had our power locks. Total CV end feed display. This particular display is made for systems at 5 gallons per minute or under, and if we went back to the PVC display, that's for 5 gallons per minute or over, and of course hydraulics are going to determine the size of the PVC. This is, again, it's a very easy display to build, and it's a good one to really demonstrate how everything works together. You can also do a live display. You can hook this up, get some cups underneath. I don't know if you want to do rocks to hold everything down, but it worked for me. And then you give an idea of just how even the flow is and how precise our irrigation is, putting the water right to the roots of the plants. Appreciate your time, and hopefully this was helpful. And next off, we will go over the different displays that you guys can go ahead and build. Thank you. Hi, again, I'm Mark Hall. I wanted to show you guys a couple different things as far as building the displays, some things to take note of. You all should eventually receive these bags, and they're labeled either PVC supply or PVC exhaust. Those are the different headers. And there's a pair of gloves that should be in there. There's also some Total CV, our new Total CV emitter line, that you'll be able to use in your displays. Now, if you don't have all the bags, there's definitely enough information from this, and also from the presentation that I included on your flash drive that has the photos of the display. So please feel free to use that. If you need to get samples, talk to Liz, and we'll see what we can do as far as giving you some Total CV samples. The rest is just simple PVC parts, and I'll go over that right now. So this is the bag. This is a PVC display, And you can see on here that this has everything. This goes from the valve, the filter, the regulator, the PVC headers. And these are, in this case, these are 3/4 inch Schedule 40 PVC with elbow going from 3/4 to half. And these are threaded. So we've got the female thread on that. And then we have our insert 17 millimeter fittings. And these are the metal adapters that screw into here. Now remember, make sure you use Teflon tape. So when you're showing people, you definitely want to go Teflon on all these fittings on this display. You're typically going to want to show at least one emitter. This is a very small display, but it does a good job of showing people how it's put together in a systems approach. On the other side, we've used our power locks so they can see sort of what this actually looks like. Again, there's Teflon tape going back into this 3/4 inch. And this is the exhaust header, which has a manual flush valve on the very end of the system. And this again is a supply header that obviously supplies the water. The other thing you want to take note of, or let your customer know, is there is no air relief on here, and you don't need an automatic flush valve. The reason you don't need it, there's a couple reasons, but one of the main reasons is you're only going to be using this manual flush valve either if you get a cut in the system or probably once a year to flush as you're cleaning your filter. We also like to make sure we talk about this particular, I think we call it a bubbler box, but you can just call it a small valve box instead of using a 6-inch round. What's nice about this box, when you lift up the top, there is a like a metal washer in here. So if you want to be able to easily find those flush valves when it's time to flush, you've got a way to find it with a metal detector. Here's another display. This is very simple, easy to build. It may be one of the most effective displays. You can also use this at a distributor. You can just hang it up on the wall. It's nice that they can just take it off and show the customer and see how everything fits together, at least until we get our counter mats. This is actually a hose end connection, so if you want to turn this on live, or you can also connect this up again to your valve, filter, and regulator. You can see on here we actually use the cross. We're still working on getting these crosses, but most distributors have this available. This is elbow insert fittings, of course. The spacing on this, we're just going about 7 inches apart, so we don't have too big of a footprint when you're carrying this around with you. And then on the other side, we actually have our power lock fittings. We've got our elbows, T's on here. And then again, we go into insert, and this is a manual flush. You could do it this way, or you could also use a power lock. So that shows you that. As far as our controllers, they're made by Galcon, and they're very simple. This is a controller that actually has a separate adapter for it. This is only for interior applications, or I would say light commercial. We do have a couple of other larger options, so when you're doing, let's say, a high-end residential project, this is a great controller. It's sort of nice because it has the dial feature, and then it just has 4 buttons and an LED display, which actually makes it fairly easy, similar to a lot of the other controllers. And I think the way we can sell this again is a all Jain package. This also has connections, most of these controllers, for even rain sensors, moisture sensors, so there's actually a separate place on here you can do that. And a couple of the controllers you can actually hook up a low voltage lighting system to turn that on and off. These are great controllers. I suggest that you put the battery, the 9-volt battery in all of these, so when you want to demonstrate, it's easy to do. Again, thank you for your time and listening, and until later, I'm signing off, and hope you have a great rest of the week. Thank you.